We don't have a mic for you is the biggest problem. If you had a spare mic, then I'd absolutely love you to step on.
That would be. But I'm pretty sure they would frown upon it.
All right.
Are we live now?
Hello.
You're just putting us live like that? No warning?
And welcome to the Big Four.
Yeah, currently featuring 2 people.
Currently featuring 2 people.
We're still missing Mark.
Yeah.
I miss you, man. Seriously, please come back. I actually miss you.
The amount of beer I've wasted pouring one out for him.
Man, it's
ridiculous.
I honestly we're actually just we're committing crimes against the environment at this point. Like we're just flooding the ecosystem with really garbage beer.
Yeah.
We're not going to worry about how we're getting the beer. Not an issue. Just not even worth worrying about.
But I'm Grayson.
I'm Ricky.
As always.
We don't have Austin today. I believe he's suffering from migraines, so get better soon, my guy.
Yeah.
Going out to you. Uh-oh, only background sound coming through. You sure about that, Chris? Oh, no, that's just for Chris. Never mind. That ain't our issue. Good luck, man. So normally on most Thursdays, considering how our show is, we would talk about all of the sports, but
today is just hockey.
Yeah, you know, it's the only thing that happened today. There's only hockey. No, today's the best day in the entire sports year. It is the NBA trade deadline.
Keep talking.
And sorry. No, not feeding in there, Jake. So NBA trade deadline was today, and man, it was a good one. I believe we had 22 trades this month, which breaks the record for most trades in a single month, including over the offseason. I believe that the only time it has been beaten was when we had 23 trades over the entire offseason of 17-18, if I remember correctly, which is to say it was a very, very, very busy month. And considering some of the people that got moved, and just the raw amount of people that got moved in some of these deals, it makes a lot of sense. So we could start with the one that we would have started with last week if we had a show, the one that melted my brain and caused me to shut down for about 3 days because I could not parse it at the time. Just none of it made sense.
That was
we're talking about the Kristaps Porzingis trade. I was going to try to think of a joke trade I could say instead of it, but I couldn't think of one that took place around then. But no, it was the Kristaps trade. Honestly, like.
Want to start with the details?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I can remember this off the top of my head. The Knicks traded Kristaps Porzingis, Courtney Lee, and Tim Hardaway Jr. to the Dallas Mavericks for DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, Dennis Smith Jr., the unprotected 2021 first-round pick, and a top 10 protected 2023 first-round pick.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of optics going on in the trade. We moved 6 players, including, I believe Wesley Matthews was an all-star when he was in Portland. Oh, I could be wrong about that before the ACL tear. DeAndre Jordan was notably, I don't know, probably the top 3 center over the last 8 years, considering his stint with the Clippers. Dennis Smith Jr. was the lottery pick that the Mavs made last year, I believe at number 10, 11. We have Courtney Lee, who is he's a journeyman. He's been in the league about 10 years, a wing, good three-point shooter. Used to be a good 3-and-D player back when he played with the Grizzlies, I believe, in the early teens when they were making them Western Conference Finals runs. Grit and grind was in its heyday. And Tim Hardaway Jr., who the Knicks picked, I want to say like 14th overall when he came out of Michigan. They let him walk in the offseason after, I want to say, that was like 15 or 16, signed with the Hawks, not the Falcons, wrong team in Atlanta. Signed this huge contract with them. Actually, no, he was with the Falcons for 2 years. Falcons, Hawks, man, I'm terrible today. With the Hawks for 2 years, he signed this huge contract. I know, man, I'm sorry. I'm crumbling under pressure. I know. What's wrong with me? I'm honestly ashamed.
An hour's worth of content, basically, and you're folding under the pressure.
Man, talking about the Falcons when I didn't want to talk about football today. Anyway, he signed this really gross deal with the Knicks for like $16 million a year or something. Just an absolutely disgusting contract for someone that basically only shoots and is a really high volume scorer that shouldn't be a high volume scorer. And Kristaps Porzingis, who we all know is the unicorn. He was the future of the franchise in New York. He was, I don't know, that he was the face of it too. They accepted him. I know there was like people make a big deal about him getting booed on draft night, but I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan McNabb got booed on draft night.
Yeah, like, you think Eagles fans were unhappy with McNabb over the course of his career? I mean, they probably were just because Eagles fans are like mad ornery, but like they're Eagles fans. They're not happy with anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think once we saw Kristaps hit anyone with the first, unicorn Euro step, whatever people want to call it. People think
I don't know.
first three,
That's
people are satisfied. I think Knicks fans liked Kristaps.
I mean, they definitely accepted Kristaps.
Maybe not anymore, but
No, I mean, I don't blame him, but at the same time, I don't blame Kristaps for not liking the Knicks anymore. Are you kidding me?
gosh.
That franchise is a disaster. So that being said, it's like the trade for the Knicks was really interesting because it was mostly about. It was basically just about them freeing up cap space, and in order for them to try to free up a lot of cap space, they're looking to have something like $70 million in free.
So what, 73 million?
Some an absolutely obscene amount.
Room for two max.
They have two
contracts,
max slots in the offseason, and that's basically what the goal for this trade was. And the cost that they had to give up for it was Kristaps, unfortunately for them. That's not to say they didn't get anything back. They did get Dennis Smith Jr. back. He has a lottery talent for a reason. He has a lot of upside. And they also got back 2 first-round picks. And the unprotected 2021 first is a little sketchy just because it is from Dallas, and they figured to be a playoff team by then. So it's not going to be that great of a pick, but it'll still be a quality pick. And the biggest thing is that with the 2023 pick, it being top 10 protected, there's basically no way that pick's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like that's not gonna it's gonna convey, but it's gonna be a bad pick. So it's basically just for the Knicks. It's about them trying to figure out how they want to use their cap space and if they can actually get the free agents that they want. They look like they're going to try to get Kyrie and Kevin Durant in the offseason. And if they can manage to pull those two in, then sure, absolutely a fantastic trade. They definitely pulled it off. That was a worthwhile trade, and you have to do it, right? But at the same time, it's like that's the risk that you run making this trade.
It is a risk.
If you don't get them, and you're unsure if Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler are really that interested in your market, and maybe Kyrie doesn't leave Boston, and maybe KD stays in Golden State, and suddenly you're looking at a free agent class of like Tobias Harris, who looks like he's going to try to re-sign in Philly, Chris Middleton, who looks like he's going to re-sign in Milwaukee. It's like,
well, what I would be worried about as a Knicks fan per se is they have a lot of money to work with.
Yeah.
So they're going to throw a stupid amount of money to someone.
Yeah, that's
Presumably
the biggest
Kevin
thing.
Durant. But let's say, like before they make an offer, there's a situation where Durant stays in Golden State, like
Yeah.
Paul George stayed
Yeah,
in OKC. Let's say a move's made for Kyrie, and then the Knicks at that point, I think, go into panic mode, and that's when they throw $45 million at Jimmy Butler.
Man.
That would be my fear as
I don't-
a Knicks fan, is the Knicks panicking and like doing what the Clippers did with Blake Griffin and just throwing the next best free agent a huge max contract.
See, I really liked it from their perspective because the Blake Griffin thing, because we actually got to see Blake in the playoffs as an actual like generational player. Like he looked like he was going to be a point forward, someone that could be a top 5 player in the league. Someone that, I mean, we haven't seen that from Jimmy. Jimmy's been great. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the better 2A players in basketball, but he's not a actual force on the court to the same degree on offense that Blake Griffin was. Because Blake Griffin finally was flashing a perimeter game, showed ability to handle the ball, still had some of the athletic prowess that made him like pop off the screen in the first place, right?
Yeah, but there was a point for like a week where Blake Griffin was the highest paid NBA player.
I mean, yeah, that's not great, but that's just like cap inflation and stuff. I mean, Mike Conley signed a $30 million a year deal, and people were freaking out about that, and that's not anything anymore. That's just that was the market.
If the Knicks don't land Durant or Kyrie, they got to sign someone.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that's I wrote an article about the trade because I needed to figure out how to get all of my thoughts down about it, right? And I think that after there's like the quartet of Kyrie, Kawhi, Kevin Durant, and Jimmy Butler. Those are the 4 big names. Clay's he ain't gonna be available, man. He's staying in Golden State.
No.
We ain't got. All right, whatever.
Going with our sponsorship.
Whatever.
There we go.
Yeah, hit us
Finally, well tried.
hit us with the Pepsi sponsorship.
It's just like Pepsi buy us some mics.
Yeah,
Buy us some
seriously,
XLR
seriously. Yeah, we could use some XLRs and some mics. I don't know. It's really weird because if I'm Golden State, it's like I need to get a premier free. Not Golden State. If I'm the Knicks, I need to get a premier free agent. Otherwise, the trade was a waste. Unless I have, and that's the biggest thing. Is unless I get a premier free agent, or I can get something that tied me over and retain financial flexibility moving forward, then there was no point doing this trade because I think of the only sure thing the franchise had moving forward for what pennies on the dollar.
So you don't think it's Durant or bust for the Knicks?
I think it has to be Durant or bust. I think you have to. I think it has to be like Durant, Kawhi, or Kyrie or bust for the Knicks because I don't think I can build a team around
If they
Jimmy.
just signed Kawhi, it's a success.
I don't know. Probably. He's what? He's the best two-way player in basketball, maybe? Paul George is looking like he's really competing for that title right now. To his credit, he's been unreal this year. And Giannis might be coming for that too, but at the same time, it's like Kawhi is still a premier player for a reason. Although one of the biggest things is his minutes workload this year, something to keep an eye on because he's still not playing in back-to-backs, and it's February.
Yeah.
That's mildly concerning. But yeah, I don't know. I just the trade is like you need to get a good free agent. Otherwise, the trade wasn't worth. You just gave up so much. Is Jake finally on the air?
I don't know.
Nope.
Oh man.
Oh Jesus. How's that? How's that? If I stand back here.
You can just do that with that mic.
I mean.
Then have to
All right. You know what? How about we just we're just not even gonna worry about it. Okay. Back to me.
This is Ricky's one shot.
Yeah, I know. He's trying to steal my limelight from me.
You're absolutely right.
And I don't know. It's just a really weird trade for the Knicks because of how short-sighted it seems. I mean, I say that they got a prospect and 2 first-round picks back, but it's like it's such a huge gamble that I don't know if I'd make it. And I guess for them, maybe they're not sold on Chris Epps being able to come back from the ACL tear, and that's a reasonable concern because it's something else I talked about. The guy's missed 20 games a year, even not including this year, for his first 3 seasons.
Yeah.
That's kind of a lot, especially for someone his size.
You said something, I think, that Max Kellerman said, saying that he was going to take Chris Tapps over Embiid, but he's only played, 4 more games than Embiid past 2 years
Yeah,
or something like
that's
that.
actually hilarious. I don't know, because it's weird. It's so weird that they would just... I was just surprised they cut bait on him that fast. Because it seemed like he expressed displeasure with the way the franchise is being run, and they were like, all right, we traded you.
You know who I feel bad for? Probably the worst for? The young Knicks fans who don't know anything about cap space. They just know that.
They
just know that KP got traded for 3 people who they don't know.
Yeah. You know who I actually feel the most bad for in this trade? I feel awful for DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
I feel unbelievably bad for DeAndre Jordan. I even felt bad about it in my article because I basically wrote about him like he didn't matter, and it broke my heart. Man, Jake over here is struggling with the mics. You can't get him on air today. This is probably for the best. I mean, if we start talking about the Super Bowl, the guy might just leave. He might even do it now. I don't know. It was a really weird trade for the Knicks. It made a lot of sense for the Mavs though, because it made an unbelievable amount of sense with the Mavs, especially when you take into account a trade they made later today, or earlier today, I guess. Where suddenly, if you put those two together, they got Chris Porzingis, who, if he comes back from the ACL tear at even 80%, it's congratulations to have a perennial all-star. He just doesn't have an MVP ceiling anymore. You got Luka Doncic moving forward, and now after you trade Harrison Barnes, that was last night. Right. My bad. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long 24 hours.
Jake doesn't even have a mic. He's still coming.
I know. This man, it never stops.
Can we get like a rip for Harrison Barnes getting traded mid-game?
Yeah, honestly, that's rough. But no, they have enough cap space for a max free agent now.
Yeah.
And that is unbelievable. Cuban's pulling a coup, man, and it's honestly fantastic to watch.
And we saw this week about like Cuban and the Mavs wanting to sign KP to a long-term deal.
Yeah, they do. I mean, obviously, if you trade for him, you have to. Because what else are you getting back in return? Not much. I mean,
I love how this totally shifts the layout of the Western Conference. Because now it's obviously Golden State, the tip of the mountain, and then you have the Denver, the Houstons, the OKCs, but it's still Golden State at the tip of the mountain.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of looks going to like LA and LeBron, but if all these free agents move and the Lakers don't get any of them,
it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, I still think Anthony Davis is going to wind up with the Lakers, which it didn't happen today. Spoiler, we'll get to that maybe a little bit later.
Yeah, and I think there's reason for that. I didn't expect him to get moved.
No,
this week
I don't.
Anyway.
I think that for the Pelicans to trade Anthony Davis without really receiving an offer from the Celtics, I think that's short-sighted on their part.
Yeah.
But I think it's also risky on their part because maybe if the Celtics lowball them, then they're gonna be left out in the water a little bit, and they're going to feel pretty bad about themselves.
Either way, you're going to get a return on Anthony Davis. If you can find a way to trade him. but I guess we'll have to wait and see what
Yeah.
the deal is.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think the Celtics. I don't know. We can talk about a potential Celtics trade for Anthony Davis later.
We can talk about Anthony Davis the whole show if you really want.
Probably, yeah. But back to the Kristaps trade. The biggest thing that I talked about is Tim Hardaway Jr. isn't just like contract filler in the trade. Like he's only 26.
Yeah.
And he's been in the league for a couple of years now. He was on that Michigan team that lost in the national title to Louisville, and since had the Louisville national title when vacated. Thanks, Pitino. Y'all didn't deserve that anyway. It's okay.
Peyton Steven, man.
Yeah, but did you, man? I don't want to talk. Whatever. I don't want to talk about that game right now. But Tim Hardaway Jr. It's interesting because if he actually gets recast under Carlisle next to someone like Luka, where suddenly Hardaway doesn't have to create all of his own offense as like a ball handler, and he's playing next to someone he can sort of play off of, and under a coach he respects and that has experience like managing players like this. Suddenly it looks a lot better for him. It's maybe he's not someone that takes 15 shots a game. Maybe only takes like 11 shots a game or 10 shots a game, but his efficiency numbers go up. And suddenly he's averaging, I don't know, like 16 points a game on considerably fewer shots. He's playing within himself, so you don't have to worry about the inefficiency creeping in so much anymore, and he's a really good complementary player. And maybe he's actually worth his contract at that point.
He got drafted, what you say, 13?
I don't know. I wish I knew off the top of my head. I should have
That's when they
looked
won
it
the
up.
title, 13. I think.
Yeah, the Louisville national title, I believe, was 2012.
2012. So yeah, because I think it's just funny you mentioned coaching, because obviously Beeline, premier
Yeah,
coach.
Beeline's great, man.
And who was D'Antoni? Who was the next coach when? Like who did Hardaway
Yeah, it would have been the
have?
Knicks coach actually.
He would have had D'Antoni.
I think in 12-13 would have been D'Antoni. I believe he was there for like 2 or 3 years.
And then who was after D'Antoni? Fisher was there for a bit, wasn't he?
Fisher was there for a bit. Yeah, I think we did go to Tony to Fisher, and then we went to we had that ugly amalgamation. We did like Rambis, Hornacek. And then we wound up with Fizdale, which I think is hopefully for a more permanent fixture.
Yeah, but then moving to a guy like Carlisle, who I think
Yeah, Carlisle is one of the premier coaches in basketball.
and an extremely well-respected coach
Yeah.
throughout the entire league. And then a player-friendly owner.
That's true. Cuban's very player-friendly.
And you get Kristaps.
Yeah,
And Luka.
And Luka, man, they're gonna be incredible together. It's gonna be great.
You get to watch Dirk fizzle off.
You don't gotta talk about Dirk like that. Come on,
I love Dirk.
have some respect for the legend, bro.
I love Dirk, but man, he's.
The guy's like 40. Leave him alone.
Oh, it's Vince Carter.
Yeah. So you acting like Vince Carter's fizzling off? Because the answer is he fizzled off a lot
Fizzled off
faster.
like 10
I know the guy's been fizzling off. Come on.
But he can still dunk. That's
Yeah.
He'll get like one breakaway, two-handed slam a game, and people not even a game, a week, and then people are like go crazy for it.
There he is. There he is. He's back.
What'd you come back with, boy?
What you got, Jake? You got XLRs? All right, we got XLRs. This is exciting. It's coming in.
What a mess.
I know it's been a disastrous day.
Austin, we need you.
I know, seriously. Look what happens when you're not here. He's coming in. Dusting it off mic 5. Here he comes.
Hello, anybody there?
Wow.
Hello, I am here. What did I walk into?
But what did you walk into?
Talking about Dirk.
Yeah, talking about he's making fun of Dirk and Vince Carter. Come on.
Literally.
Come on, man. I'm trying to talk about the Kristaps trade, and you're making fun of Dirk Nowitzki in my
Talking
face.
about the Kristaps trade for 20 minutes?
About 16.
Oh my goodness, boy. Let's move on.
You seen the Kristaps Porzingis trade?
Let's
Come
move
on.
It's all speculatory.
What do you mean it's all speculatory?
There's potential for the Knicks, but you guys have talked about earlier. If the Knicks don't hit on anybody this summer,
It's a brick trade. It's an absolute
We've
brick.
sprinkled some other.
Yeah,
So-
we sprinkled some up. Hey, can you talk about the trade that made me the most happy today?
What was that?
It's Markelle Fultz.
Markelle Fultz to Orlando.
Yeah, they traded Markelle Fultz to the Orlando Magic for Jonathan Simmons.
Second round pick.
Yeah, and then they got a first too.
Okay. I guess that's fair.
It's not a great first, but it's a first.
Hey man, I'm very critical of him. I think a lot of people that they would know that.
Yeah, especially if you watch the show.
Yeah. Our 4 fans know that I'm kind of critical of him because I don't understand how you can. But it doesn't matter. I am happy that he got out of Philly because I definitely think that situation itself was a toxic situation. The Philly media painted him out to be a chump, and even his own mother agrees with me that he should have been moved earlier. And I think with Orlando, they're a team that really doesn't have an identity right now.
They definitely do. Actually, they do have an identity. They just don't know what their identity is. They haven't realized what their identity is yet, even though it is right there in front of them.
They have something. They have what should be something, and it's just not. And they're going to get there eventually, I think. But I think this Markel thing, if it works out in their favor, which it should, he's only 21.
He's actually 20.
Yeah, so he can't even drink legally. They should have plenty of time. Like they have the pieces in place to hopefully this is going to be a good trade for them. I agree with you that that Markel Fultz himself is a winner today. Orlando's still on the fringe of being considered a winner. However,
the biggest thing for me is Orlando managed to buy unbelievably low on a #1 overall pick his second year in the league.
Yeah,
that is incredible. And it's not even like, oh, well, this is Kwame Brown, and it's like, oh my God, what were we thinking? It's like Markel was the consensus #1 overall pick coming into the draft.
Yeah, well,
and
there were people out there saying other names.
Well, I think that's more. Yeah, come on, that was like 2 years before. Like, come on, man, get your timeline together. Jason Tatum, you mean?
That's what I meant, Jason
yeah,
Tatum.
Okay, all right.
Excuse me. And then there are other people that are talking about Alonzo at the time.
Whatever.
Honestly, aside from Jason Tatum, the top 3 of that draft really haven't played up to their sky high.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it's honestly great. And for the Magic, for them to be able to get a player like that who fills the need that they have, and for as low as they got him with as much upside as he still has, and a pretty reasonable explanation for any shooting issues, as long as they can figure out what's going on with his shoulder, if something's going on with his shoulder, I know some people are skeptical about that, which I don't know. I find it really hard to believe that someone suddenly forgets how to shoot a basketball after 18 years without there being a reason for it.
Yeah, and that's what that's been my narrative since the nerve. Well, since before it was even diagnosed as a nerve injury. I said, how do you forget how to shoot a basketball when you've been doing it for 17 plus years?
That's why I don't know. For me, it's like I really don't trust the Sixers medical staff.
Yeah.
And I absolutely do not appreciate anything that they've done because Joel Embiid played 32 games his first 3 years, and that is alarming for me.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a huge red flag on the team itself.
Yeah, and Ben Simmons sat out his first year. Zaire Smith sitting out this year, I believe. You know, Markel basically sat out all of his first year and a half.
Some call it the process.
Yeah, I mean, it's a process tradition at this point, but is it really one we want to keep going?
Right.
You have to ask yourselves after a point, like, is this actually worthwhile to help our players, or did we just draft really well? So
I think it's a bit of both. I also think Sam Hinkie's somewhere smiling.
I hope he is. I hope he's getting royalties off the Sixers because, man, does he deserve it? He absolutely should. I want to see him back in sports.
Every Embiid jersey sold, he gets like
4% of every Embiid jersey sold or something. That'd be great.
Yeah, which is a good buyout.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Toronto Raptors.
Oh yeah, we can do Raptors, then we can do the Sixers again.
Yeah, I wanted to go to the. Let's move on to the Raptors for now, and we can talk.
Actually, no. Do you want to start with the other Sixers trade first? So we're still on them.
This is Ricky's show. He could choose.
Yeah, okay, all right. So this
Tobias Harris.
Yeah, the Sixers made a splash. I don't know if it was a good splash. They might have belly flopped a little bit, but they got style points for it in the short term. In the long term, they might be feeling it a little bit more. They traded Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, the 2021 unprotected Miami Heat first round pick.
Yep.
And Mike Scott.
Yes. And Mike Scott. Yep, because Mike Scott's the Mike Scott. Excuse me, Mike Scott's going to Philly.
Yeah, that's right. They traded Mike Muscala to the Clippers.
Right.
That's my bad. And I think they might have traded another first round pick too, or it's a second round pick or something. To the Clippers for Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, and Mike Scott. So the biggest thing for the Sixers here is suddenly they have one of the best starting fives in basketball.
Right, they have themselves a big four.
It looks gross. If JJ Redick's your fifth best starter, you're doing something really good.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think that they match up relatively well with Golden State. I think that they are still they're not as deep as Toronto, but they're a deeper roster.
I don't know about that actually.
Well, because we were looking at it yesterday, and I said that my biggest problem with the trade is that it leaves them at the power forward position kind of strapped, because the only two power forwards on that roster right now are Tobias Harris, who plays a stretch four, and Mike Scott.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest glaring issue with them and their moves today for me, is that they just after those two, there's really nobody there unless they want to do Boban at the 5 and move JoJo to the 4.
I mean, it'd be interesting. I just want to see that from like an Abject Madness point of view, right? That'd be
to watch the Twin Towers.
Yeah, dude, it'd be great. They'd be incredible together. I mean, they'd get roasted. They get roasted on the perimeter, but you know, it'd be like that when you have two people with a combined height of 14 feet 4 inches or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just the biggest thing. The biggest concern for me with I have two real concerns with the Clippers is they're kind of all in on this year because Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris are free agents in the offseason.
Yeah, I agree.
And
The Sixers aren't retaining him.
They already signed Joel Embiid to a max extension. That man's getting paid $30 million a year. And Ben Simmons is gonna be eligible for an extension soon. So do we really want to throw a max at both Jimmy and Tobias, try to keep them booked forward? And there's speculation that they do want to. But man, that's gonna be hard to stomach financially for a while because you're looking at what $130 million for 4 players.
Yeah,
that is.
And then you have like a Miami Heat
gross.
bench with Mario Chalmers.
Yeah, you're looking at a bunch of maybe sub replacement players. And the other thing, so it's really hard to manage that going forward, right? And you give up kind of a lot for a potential 1-year rental in Tobias Harris, and you gave up kind of a lot for Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, see, that's kind of like.
So
I really think that if they don't make it to at least the Eastern Conference Finals this year, it's a bust.
Yeah, no, it absolutely. I mean, if they don't make it to the finals this year, I feel like it's kind of a bust.
Yeah, I mean, with that starting lineup.
Just because I don't.
But I wouldn't also, if that is the case that they don't, I wouldn't blame that on Brett Brown.
No, I don't think it's Brett Brown's fault.
I mean, the Sixers and Elton Brand have really done everything they can to make that team as good as it can be, and I also think Elton Brand's really done well since taking over as GM.
I'm actually not sure because it looked like he took everything the process had built up, and suddenly he just all those assets are just going. The fit's questionable. I don't know. I'm concerned. They don't have a lot of depth anymore.
No, I agree, and that's what we were just saying. But I also think that he's brought eyes to this Philadelphia unit, and bringing in Jimmy Butler was big. You know, the problem is that it's Jimmy, and Jimmy doesn't care about anybody but Jimmy. But now you have Tobias Harris, who's a passing forward from what I've seen, and he's gotten offensively better. He provides them that versatility to play a 3-4. Granted, he's only going to play the 4. However,
and he can shoot. That's the biggest thing.
And he can shoot. So I really do. I like the move. I think that Philly is ride or die at this point. It's just kind of like they're going to go all in, and I wish them the best of luck.
Yeah, honestly, good luck because the East is a murderer's row this year. Those top 4 teams in the East are unbelievable.
You know what they could do?
What?
Bring my boy Ennis in. Bring my boy Enes Kanter in. Fills in some.
He gives them some front court depth.
Yeah, why not? Why not? We ran his numbers yesterday with the Knicks. He's averaging over 10
Yeah,
points.
no, Enes can ball, dude. I don't know. Wesley Matthews looks like he's gonna get bought up by the Knicks.
He's going to Indiana.
Yeah, I know. There was speculation he was going to Indiana. I thought the Sixers are gonna be a really good fit for him because they lack wing depth and
they lack outside shooting.
Yeah, and you don't have much shooting. With Landry Shamet gone in the deal to the Clippers for Tobias, it's like you don't really have a lot of wings anymore, and it's honestly really concerning because you're gonna need.
I miss Covington so much.
I know, man. God, Rocco. Yeah, you think they miss Rocco right now?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Saric.
Yeah, you know, if they play the Bucks in the playoffs, like good luck matching up with them on the wings with the amount of depth that you have because they are going to eat you alive.
I want to talk about them actually since we're on.
Yeah, we can go to them.
We can go to Nikola Mirotic and Stan Johnson for Thon Maker.
They basically turned Thon McCurr and some other assets into Nikola Mirotic, which congratulations. Stanley went to New Orleans for Nico.
Oh,
man.
Yeah, you're right.
Come on.
Man, I've been looking for a cord, an XLR cord for like the last 15 minutes.
What you've really been looking for is an excuse to talk about Stanley Johnson on air for the last year and a half. Come on.
I love Stanley Johnson.
I know, it's okay. It's
I'm
all right.
mad that he can never get it together, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like he has a lot of defensive upside, and I think Alvin Gentry understands that too. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moving forward, they got Nikola Mirotic, which we were talking about that the other day. That's what their problem was, is that they didn't have big depth. Like it was Brook Lopez.
Yeah, you got Brook Lopez. You got the question mark potential upside of Thon McCurr, and you got Giannis at the 5 in a break glass in case of emergency. Maybe we're just gonna blow someone out of the water with this deal.
And now here it is.
And now you got Nico, and suddenly you're looking at it. So are we gonna have? I think honestly they're probably gonna have Brogdon come off the bench.
Oh, definitely.
They're gonna slide everyone down. Middleton's gonna back to playing the 2, and then play Giannis at the 3, Nico at the 4, Brook Lopez at the 5. Suddenly you have Giannis and 4 shooters.
Bledsoe.
They already have Giannis.
Yeah, but now it's like, man, if you give me Nico or Brogdon, I'm taking Nico. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, he just has the size advantage.
Yeah, he just has.
Malcolm
Well, that
doesn't
just also gives you the benefit of just bringing Brogdon off
I know,
the
and
bench,
suddenly you
too.
can bring Brogdon off the bench with Tony Snell, and your army of wings is huge now. You can look. You're looking at like a potential Toronto level bench mob type deal going on here with.
I like them. I like how Milwaukee's made up.
I know it's
Yeah,
honestly
I mean,
they're so
And
futuristic. It's
they
great.
have the coach to
Yeah,
really
but
make it happen.
Budenholzer knows how to use players like this. It's basically the same blueprint that he had in Atlanta, but better.
Well, instead of Thabo Splitter, you got
Thiago Splitter,
you got
yeah, you
like
got
a
Brook Lopez,
and
yeah,
Nikola
yeah,
Mirotic. So
yeah.
it all works itself
That team
out.
is built perfectly around Giannis.
I know it really is. That's the
Surround
biggest
him
thing.
with shooters.
I think that the NBA needs to take a look at what this is. They found a diamond in the rough, drafted 14th overall, if I remember correctly.
13th, I think maybe. 14th,
Regardless,
something like that.
regardless,
Yeah, yeah,
mid-teens,
yeah.
You know, it turns out that he is an absolute unit, and they're like, okay, well, let's do this. He's our identity. We're going to build around him. It's the same thing that the Bears did for the NFL. They were like, wow, well, except in reverse. They surrounded Mitch Trubisky with this talent, even though Mitch Trubisky's not an NFL elite
No,
quarterback.
Khalil Mack didn't hurt.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
But
they
he had the-
surrounded him with players that help him be better.
They did sell the farm to Khalil Mack though.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, 2 first-rounders or something. But anyway, back to basketball. I mean, the Bucks blueprint of how they built this team really is something to admire. If your team's a rebuilding team,
I mean, if you're-
it's like the Pelicans
Hey,
in a year.
I mean, right now even.
Chicago.
Yeah, if you're a small market team, what the Bucks did, it's hard to emulate because you can't always get
We
a
can't always get a Giannis.
top 3 level talent in the mid-teens of the lottery. Like that's not easy. But at the same time, like they've done everything they can. They brought in a coach. They found players that they wanted to be there, and they're like, all right, we're gonna do everything we can to keep Giannis here. If Giannis doesn't stay, then we start looking at like, all right, what do we try to do to keep players in small market teams because it's gonna get hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that I've been saying that for years that the small market in the NBA really. I don't know what the NBA needs to do to kind of spread the player wealth, but at the same time, it's so.
But that's the
hard.
thing though. This year, it's actually looking like it might not be as big an issue because we got the Thunder, the 3rd seed in the West.
Yeah.
The Bucks are the 1 seed in the East.
Well, I think that's also because PG-13 is playing at an NBA
Yeah,
level,
yeah.
but he chose to stay.
Yeah, that's
it's
the
kind of
thing.
like how Chris Middleton's already committed to signing
Yeah,
with Milwaukee. Like he wants to stay.
And that's the thing is I don't think the
It's
small
that
markets.
loyalty that I really think hasn't existed for a long time.
I don't want to talk about loyalty in sports, man.
Kevin Durant.
God, I don't want to talk about loyalty in sports.
Now
We're better than those
it's
guys.
not right now. If I'm an NBA player, looking for a team to play, it's not attractive for me to go. I guess right now it would be attractive to go to the Knicks because of the cap boom and potential. But like last year in free agency, it's not an attractive move to go to the Knicks. Whereas
No,
going
not
to
at all.
Milwaukee, going to the Thunder, that was an attractive move for
The Lakers
any
even.
player. Yeah,
Oh.
now even. Well, the Lakers have always been a big market team.
No, but I'm saying like last season it was all like, okay, well, who's gonna follow LeBron there? However, I understand what you're saying with big market teams. It's but we saw last season
Like the market
they
only
wanna go
goes
to
so
little-
far.
Yeah.
I think you used to look at it, and people are like, we want to go to South Beach, we want to go to New York, we want to go
Right.
to LA. Now the market doesn't. I don't think a market takes a team that far anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Miami was trying to recruit Gordon Hayward of all people, and they had, they were going at it, and then I remember Stephen A. Smith was kind of like, oh, it's South Beach, it's South
Yeah, I know. We always
I
hear
mean,
about South
sure,
Beach.
yeah, you can.
But
It-
nobody wants to go to South
There's
Beach.
no state tax in Florida.
There is no state tax in Florida.
I mean,
just like
yes,
there's no state
sir.
tax in
When
Texas.
Pat Riley sits down, he can get a yacht in South Beach and do his pitch over there. Where if you go to Oklahoma, you're just gonna duck, watch out for a tornado, and that's where your pitch
You
is.
can meet Russ at some fashion show.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Or at a
it's-
party.
But I just don't know how much the market really draws players anymore compared
Yeah.
to talent.
Well, I also think, I mean, that's interesting. I think it also depends on the player himself. In this case, of the
definitely
NBA, because there are guys. Like I remember when Kevin Durant signed with Golden State. Golden State wasn't necessarily a big market, despite being in San Francisco and in Oakland area.
Silicon
It's
Valley.
not actually a big market. Is the funny part.
It's not. It's not a sports market really in general. Like the Giants were really good. I'm talking about San Francisco.
Yeah.
Giants. I didn't really see Giants fans. Same thing with Oakland last season for the Athletics. Nobody cares. It's just kind of. California's weird with
really
their
weird.
sports teams. Like unless they have that history.
California
the
is like Lakers, Dodgers. Yeah, Lakers, Dodgers.
It's basically just Lakers, Dodgers.
So.
Also
but,
USC
but
and
there were
UCLA.
guys that were like, oh, the Golden State, whatever, and then Kevin Durant signs there, and they show up the next day with a KD jersey on. So I definitely think that people follow players. That's why Cleveland was so
That's why.
big. Like with LeBron James is just because it's LeBron James. I'm not saying Cleveland's a small sports market because it's not by any means. Those fans are loyal. However, it's LeBron James. You brought
It's
people
funny
from
that
all
you
over.
mentioned that. I sent it to you guys. Forbes released the
Right, the top.
valuable
Right, the top
teams,
valuable
and there's no
franchises.
surprise. Knicks, Lakers, Bull,
Cowboys.
I think it was for NBA alone.
Yeah.
It was Knicks 1, Lakers 2, then Warriors 3,
Yeah.
and Bulls 4.
Mhm.
You look at those markets, the 3, and then Golden State just because of the success.
Right.
But what I found interesting was the revenue per fan. Number, I don't remember. Top 3, it was like, I think Utah. No, maybe Denver. But I know the Thunder and Cavaliers were up there too.
Uh-huh.
And then the Thunder makes sense because they love their team over there in
Right.
Oklahoma City.
They don't
Loud
got much
City.
else to root for.
And I think Cleveland's interesting because there's still like a hangover on LeBron. I'd be anxious to see what those numbers are next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When they finally come down from that high,
Yeah.
they're like, oh well, Colin
I
Sexton.
think most
Great.
I think most of these numbers with Cleveland is because LeBron, but I think it adds to your point where people follow LeBron. People were buying LeBron jerseys. People wanted to go see LeBron.
Right.
And how they made more money, revenue per fan, than the Lakers, than the Knicks, than the Warriors.
Yeah. I couldn't agree.
So you're
more.
right. People follow players.
People follow players.
That's
man.
not where the money is.
Although
the money is
I will
with the
say
market. But
that I'm kind of guilty of following a player too, because when Dwayne Wade left to go to Chicago, I wasn't a Chicago fan. I was a Dwayne Wade fan.
Yeah.
And I kind of stripped myself from the Miami Heat, fanhood. And then he went to Cleveland, and I was like, nah, bro, this ain't it, Chief. So I was kind of just in that little like ozone layer of just not really like watching basketball, but not following a certain team. Just kind of like watching for the best. And then of course he came back to Miami, but I can understand the appeal. Once you like really get enamored with a certain player, just by their play style or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just it's infectious, and you do that, and it doesn't matter what market they play in. You want to watch them play.
Yeah, like I like to watch Kevin Durant play. He might be my favorite player of all time. I'm not ashamed to admit it because he's I still think he's the most offensively gifted player in the history of basketball.
Grayson weeps.
it was I'm the exact opposite though. I cling
Yeah.
on to a team,
Right.
and I'm ride or die with that team, no
And
matter
that's
what happens.
that's exactly how I am in the NFL. Right. It's just I think it all.
But that being said,
There's no ride or die with the Bills. It's just die.
It's
Yeah.
just me
man,
and my table.
we both know about dying
Hey man.
for football
I will die on that hill.
I
every
did
day.
for
or table.
what 19 years of my life.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, but you actually got the
You got to the
catharsis.
Super Bowl twice in your lifespan, so you'd be all right. I wasn't even born. I
See, but the difference,
Hey,
the
last time they made
difference
the playoffs
here
before
is,
last season
I feel
was
you. I feel for you with the
1999.
Bills, but then you turn around with the Heat. You
Hey,
got those
man.
championships.
06 bandwagon though. 06 bandwagon.
Yeah, but you still got the ones with LeBron.
And you got
That's
the
fine.
Penguins.
You still got the Penguins.
Bring it on.
You still got the
You still got
Yankees.
the Yankees.
That's okay.
So
You
I don't,
got Duke.
I don't have any sympathy
If there's any
whatsoever.
team that I'm a fan of, for sure, it's the Yankees. And if there's any team that I will die for, it's the Bills. Those are the two biggest teams in my life.
At least you're like honest.
Like I'll be honest with you.
And, like-
I have a Yankee tattoo,
You're true to yourself. I appreciate it.
I have no.
and I have valid
Bills
reason for
sympathy
my
for you whatsoever.
allegiances.
Yeah, it's fine. I respect it. All right, I don't want to talk about these
But
trash,
anyway,
these trash teams
let's
anymore.
let's
Can
move
we
on.
talk about the Raptors, please?
Yes. So Marc Gasol goes there for, if I remember correctly, it's Jonas Valanciunas,
Yeah.
C.J. Miles,
Yeah.
and DeLone Wright.
Yeah, DeLon Wright.
And a second-round pick.
Yeah.
For just Marc Gasol, which is not a bad trade in my opinion. I really think that it helps them specifically because he's a great five.
Yeah, he's a
There's
fantastic
still
five.
there's still all-star Marc Gasol in there, and I know he's got a lot of juice left in my opinion.
Yeah, he hasn't played.
Now,
I mean,
when
he
you-
was
when you
out
look
most
at
of last
that
year,
starting
so
five,
Yeah.
that's a good starting five.
it's a
my
very
gosh,
good starting five.
Yeah, I mean Kyle Lowry, and then I believe that they're playing Danny Green at the 2.
Yeah, Dan
and-
Green at the 2, Kawhi at
and
the
then
3
Kawhi
when he
at the
plays.
3. And then you have
Siakam at the 4.
Yep. Pascal Siakam at the 4, and then Marc Gasol at the 5.
Yeah.
And Serge Ibaka's coming off your bench,
Yeah.
as well as
You still have the rest of the bench, Mom. You got OG Anunoby. You got
OG. That's who I was trying to think.
Fred Van Vliet. You have I'm forgetting someone else.
It's not important, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think
But
it's pretty
they are-
important.
They are the deepest team in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So-
the Toronto bench mob is unbelievably
Nick
legit.
Nick Nurse has done really well of inheriting Dwayne Casey's roster and making it, not necessarily, it's not him making it better, but it's him utilizing it and truly being to their strength, which is depth.
Yeah.
No guy gets winded on that team.
No, and they shouldn't.
It'll be interesting to see. Like I look at the East, the playoff picture now, and right now I think Indiana's in fourth, but that's obviously not going to be sustained. I don't think. I don't think anyone is going to argue that. And how these top four teams are going to have a really really easy first round because the bottom four.
Actually, I don't know. Whoever gets the 4 seed is going to be in for a pretty rough run of it, I think.
Yeah, especially.
Actually, no, because Depot's out. Depot is out. Never mind.
And like maybe like you might look at Brooklyn being a team that gets the 5 seed in that 4-5 matchup.
We got
but,
LeVert coming back.
Shout out.
but honestly, if I'm one
Tonight,
of
too.
D-Russ.
honestly, if I'm one of either the Bucks, the Raptors, the Sixers,
Celtics.
or the Celtics, I'm not worried about the Nets.
Not really.
I'm not worried about any of the
No,
teams.
They're an annoying
still,
team, but
they're
like,
they're
They're
like
a
the
team-
kings of the East.
They're a
They-
team that might
they're,
get.
they're a team that's finally putting stuff together for the best. They are a team that's long been like the laughing stock of the league.
yeah.
But
And
this year, against one of those teams, they're a
they're a
team
pesky
that
team.
loses in 5 just because they get one close game at home.
Right. Yeah. I
so-
can agree with that.
But the second round
It's going to be
in the
great.
Eastern Cup playoffs,
Semis and on in the East is going to be
that's
unbelievable.
and that's what like nervous. And I guess not me, but like the Sixers swinging for the fences when they can realistically lose in the second round.
Yeah. Can you imagine if they lose to Boston in the second round again?
And that could happen.
That could really happen.
No matter who
And they'd
they
have
get
to.
in
They'd
the
have to try
second
to.
round.
They'd
No
have to try
matter
to
if it's
like
Boston,
deal with that.
Milwaukee or
Oh, yeah.
Toronto, they can lose in the second round.
Yeah.
Or
It's
they
gonna
could
be
go to the finals.
Oh
It's
my
going to be
God.
so much fun. It's no longer just a cakewalk like it had been in the East for however long, last 3-4 years.
Yeah, we always try to talk ourselves into being different this time. When look, it's LeBron James. Actually, I suppose last year we did have a 7-game series.
That Boston series was fine.
Yeah.
Um,
But for the most part, it did feel a little preordained.
Right. It was just always, guys like Skip Bayless are always like, oh, well, come on, guys. It's okay. LeBron James is going to figure a way out of this. And then they get to the finals, get swept, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
However, I think this year specifically, I agree with both of you. It's just this is going to be a fun.
I'm excited
It's
for
gonna
the
be a bloodbath.
playoffs in general this year.
Ridiculous. Yeah, I'm actually more interested in the East than the West. Now that we're kind of thinking about it, like I'm way more interested in the second round of the East than I am really in the West. I don't think we're going to see a Blazers losing to New Orleans like we did last season.
Although I still don't think the Blazers are actually kind of that great. Which is it hurts me to say. I don't want to trash the Blazers. Come on, I like the Blazers.
They're a strange regular
I
season.
don't
team.
want to do this right now. I'm sorry. I love the Blazers.
Well, and now I think we spent a lot of time before this season started talking about matchups, and I think there are multiple teams who quote unquote match up well against Golden State.
Yeah.
Well, I define matchup well.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's.
Do you mean don't get torched at every single position
I
in a
mean,
matchup?
Yeah, I mean, don't get swept
Okay.
easily.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, make it a fun series.
Yeah, look like they could actually maybe put up a fight.
Like
as
honestly,
opposed to,
objectively looking at the Thunder with their length
Yeah.
and their like 3-point line defense, and the fact that they do have Paul George who can take over a game now and is a monster on defense. Like I look at the Thunder defensively as a team who can compete with Golden
they're
State.
actually a good defensive team now because
Yeah.
one of the things, the best thing that they did was have Paul George resign and make Russ play defense like he could.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Is Russ finally figured out a way to channel his energy on defense.
Yeah, I think Billy Donovan really sat down and was like, "Hey, buddy, I need this."
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we it's not. It's more so like you see these guys, like you see how your former buddy there, James Harden, just got to the Western Conference Finals and almost won.
Yeah.
You see how Kevin Durant's winning titles. We need you to play defense. We need you to really step up and be this all-around guy that you are absolutely capable of. You are a MVP. We brought back PG-13. We need you guys to be on the same page defensively as well as offensively. And I agree. Russell Westbrook looks phenomenal in this like new selfless Russ kind of like defense. He's not still. Excuse me. Selfless is a big word. However, but this new age Russell Westbrook, new age Billy Donovan Thunder team where they're not trying to outscore you.
Yeah.
And Russ isn't trying to stat stuff.
And his scoring's still really rough.
Yeah, I actually don't know what his shot.
His shooting-
His numbers are up this week.
His shooting numbers are
He's up to like 34%.
his shooting numbers are terrible. Do not look at them.
Okay.
Do not look at his shooting
But
numbers.
hey, when PG is getting me 35 a game the past 7 games, I don't care.
Yeah, you're looking at the shooting numbers, Jake. You're not going to be happy with what you see. It is content
His
not
numbers
suitable
are
for minors.
terrible.
Look at his basketball reference page.
Man, it is not good.
So for the
Oh, man.
2018-2019 season,
Can we not put this over air?
21.4 points a game.
Oh, I can't believe we're putting this
11
over the air.
rebounds, 11 assists.
Yeah,
so
what about
he's
the
back to triple.
Can we go to shooting percentages though?
Okay, so his field goal percentage is 41.7%.
Not great.
His 3-point percentage is 25%.
What's his free throw shooting percentage?
Free throws
That's bad.
64%. It's not as bad as Lonzo Ball.
Well, yeah, but I got good news for you. These are all terrible for someone with as high volumes in those as Russell Westbrook has. How many threes a game does he take right now?
3 points attempted per game, 5.
25% three-point shooter taking 5 threes a game.
Hey man, you know,
It's not
Hey,
great.
man, I love
It's
him.
not great.
I still love him.
Grayson loves him. That's all that matters.
Oh man. Let's see. What other trades did we have today? I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, so
Terrible.
let's talk about. Let's pour one out for Nick Stauskas real quick
Yo,
and Wade Baldwin.
Yeah, honestly, it's such a.
It's embarrassing.
I don't know. I mean, it's a great trade. Houston actually had a low-key really good deadline just because they managed to free up some cap space and get themselves under the luxury tax.
It's a business, you know?
Yeah, it is a business. It's rough. I hate it. I really wish Nick Stauskas could manage to find somewhere where he can sit down and actually get into rotation and get playing time.
Okay, that's not as bad as it could have been.
What?
Actually, no, that's pretty bad. Russell Westbrook's also averaging 4.5 turnovers a game.
Yep.
That's him. That's
That's-
Russ.
that's a lot.
Russ.
I can't wait for 5 years from now when we're like, oh, that's just Trey, just Trey, just Trey Young.
Yeah. But no, with the Rockets and trading Stauskas and Baldwin, who I think both immediately got waived.
Actually, I think one of them's still on Indiana.
Baldwin.
I think so. I don't remember.
My poor guy, Sauce Castillo, come so far from Michigan.
I know, right? Jimmy Beeline's like, hey man, you can join our coaching staff.
Yeah, seriously, that might be what he has to go to after this. Jeez, guy's on like his 7th team or something. Man, it's
We
a
were
rough
looking it
life.
up. It's he's
Yeah.
just
That guy's going around.
he could be a depth piece for Philly.
Yeah, I mean,
He can shoot.
Yeah, he can shoot. It'd be interesting. I think it'd be an all right signing. Depends what
He's
it.
familiar with the organization. He's
think
been there twice. Another loser I had for today was Miami because
They didn't do anything.
Ryan Anderson.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Just as bad of a
They
contract
did
as
get
Tyler
they
Johnson.
did get Ryan Anderson.
I really
And-
don't understand what they're
no,
doing.
you lost Wayne Ellington too.
Yeah, that too. They're just Miami is just a tough team, really. Like,
Where did all the money come from? Where is it all going to? Like, what are you getting out of the money that you're spending? Is it nothing?
you're getting a not starting Goran Dragic and Hassan Whiteside,
Yeah.
who
How much is James Johnson making? It's a lot, right? Bloodsport's making a lot of money.
I believe so. I don't know.
Dion Waiters is also making a ton of money.
Yeah.
Look at this. All right, so Hassan Whiteside.
Kelly Olynyk's making a ton of money.
Hassan Whiteside's 13 and 12 on the season. Trade him while he's hot. Trade him while
I love every time
Trade him while he's
Whiteside
hot.
gets like a
Yeah.
15 point, 12
Yeah.
rebound game. It's like, trade him while he's hot.
Yeah.
You got to trade him.
You have like 6 players with untradeable contracts in your team.
Yeah.
And
those are 2 of them.
You're playing like
2
none of
pretty
them.
big ones.
Yeah, you have 7 now. You got Ryan Anderson. Forgot about that. Actually, just man, can you talk about how bad Miami shafted themselves on the spend? They just got a ton of money and they're like, hey, just sign everybody.
Yeah, I for one didn't agree with the whole situation. I really think that if Chris Bosh had stayed healthy, it would have been a different.
It would have been way better.
This would have been a different team.
Yeah,
for sure.
they retired his number recently, I believe, or decided they were going to.
Yes, they are. I don't believe they did it.
Yeah, they haven't done it yet. 'Cause-
Soon enough.
Yeah, it's well deserved. He was a huge part of those titles.
I'm a big proponent of trying to find anybody that'll take Hassan Whiteside off of my team. Another loser for today. I don't know if you guys talked about him at all. Anthony Davis.
No, we haven't talked about. We brought him up, but I guess
Let's just talk.
I guess
briefly,
he's a loser.
Briefly. Yeah, he's a loser because now what's he gonna do?
He's still in New Orleans. He gets to sit there and look
I was
at New
gonna
Orleans
say.
awkwardly for the rest of the year.
You're just gonna sit on the bench.
Just
Yeah.
eat well for like 4 more
He's gonna
months.
eat at a cafe, get a beignet and just hang out. Like,
You got to stay in shape in the offseason in New Orleans without playing basketball,
Like-
so you can be ready for whatever team you end up on.
it's so weird to me. I thought for sure he was gonna get traded, and now he's not getting traded, which is okay. But it's also not a fault of Del Demps or Magic Johnson because he It's honestly both. Well, actually, no. It is actually Del Demps' fault, sort of. He's asking for way too much. If the offer of Zubac, Kuzma, Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and 2 firsts is not enough for you, you're insane.
I mean, if you're in New Orleans, though, don't you? I guess have to, but like Boston hasn't even given you an offer yet.
That's true, and I think that's kind of being optimistic as well. But
Like I think you have to be optimistic because for AD,
are they gonna give you Jason Tatum? I don't understand.
I mean, I don't know, but the thing is, AD requires a high return, at least right now. And I think unless the Lakers,
He doesn't want to go to Boston.
no, he doesn't.
That's the thing. Like his uncle has given us the 4 destinations.
But
Yo.
I think unless
Whoever.
I figured it out. Boston's gonna lowball him really hard,
Yeah.
and you're gonna nuke the trade market for him, and they're gonna be like, "Why did we wait?" And then LA is gonna be like, "You guys have no leverage anymore. We're gonna recede our offer." And then suddenly, it's just the market for AD is gonna plummet.
Yeah. Like I said, the Pelicans are being
It's
frankly optimistic.
actually terrible. It's
Because
gonna
they're
break
like,
my heart.
we'll capitalize because Boston will get ousted in the playoffs, and then they'll come to us saying like, we need Anthony Davis for his last year of his deal, and then we're gonna be like, oh, well, we need this, this, and this, and this,
Yeah,
and this.
Boston's gonna offer something like,
And then Danny Ainge is gonna be like,
yeah.
we don't need like we'll figure it out on our own.
Yeah,
guys.
Boston's gonna offer them something like Al Horford, Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, and some really bad first-round picks.
Yeah, like-
and they're gonna be like, "Sorry guys, this is all we can pull together."
Yeah, and
They'd be
Dell
like,
Demps is gonna be like, oh well,
he's gonna be like,
and then he's got after the Lakers, "Yo, is Bi, Kuzma, Zoe, and
if I was
some
Magic Johnson,
and
I'd
some
be
firsts
like,
on the table." It'd be like,
actually, no, you'll get the same first. You'll get Kuzma and Ball, and that'll be it.
it's like you can get one of the kids 2 firsts and some filler.
Yeah, I'll give you Rondo.
I imagine Danny Ainge picking up the phone this summer, and he's like, "Listen, here's the deal. We want Tatum, Rozier, Smart, 2 first-rounders. What do you think?"
And maybe Horford.
And it's like,
And you gotta take Solomon Hill. Gotta give us
Yeah.
some,
Yeah,
give us some relief there. And then Ainge is gonna send Marcus Smart down to New Orleans to fight everyone. Be like, yeah, we'll send Marcus Smart.
I will take Marcus Smart versus the entire Pelicans organization. By the way,
I would too.
I will put however much money I have, it's going on him.
Dell Demps. This is my advice to you, my friend. Get Daryl Morey like really drunk, and then be like, "Hey man, remember that Minnesota deal for 4 firsts?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, I remember that." Be like, "All right, well take this shot, and we'll give you Anthony Davis for 4 firsts, and I don't know what else they would give
Just
him."
gotta trick him into
Quite
saying,
frankly,
yes.
I mean Capella. It'd probably be Capella, right?
Capella and 3 firsts,
Yeah, Capella and 3 firsts. I mean,
Capella and 4 firsts, something like that.
yeah, that'd probably be it. And then Dell Demps would be like, "Oh,
Cool.
yeah, great." And then Houston would have
Anthony Davis, Chris Paul, and James Harden.
which is a pretty good.
That's a mildly adequate team.
I'm just saying, it'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, it'd definitely be fun.
So that's my advice to you, Dell. Is just kind of wait it out.
Yeah,
You
see
go
if you
out with Daryl Morey one
Go,
night.
bunch of time. No, you got to build up into it. Not just one night. You got to build up into it. Yeah.
Just be like, "Hey man,
And then you gotta
This
is what I'm
starts,
slam him with the trade
this
offer.
starts All-Star Weekend.
absolutely."
that-
There you
make that
go.
bond.
There you go.
Absolutely. It would be like, oh, well, we'll get some shots. We'll watch the dunk contest. We'll watch Dennis Smith Jr. win the dunk contest, and then we'll move on
Amadou
from there.
Diallo.
We got a lightning round. We can do like the Kings.
Yeah, let's talk about the Kings. I love the Kings. They got rid of Justin Jackson.
Yeah,
and they got
that's
rid
right.
of
Zach Randolph for
Zach
Harrison
Randolph
Barnes.
For Harrison Barnes,
Which is
great deal.
interesting, actually, because it gives them a pretty established wing presence, someone that they can use as a more stable building block to try to. They're low-key making a playoff push, and I really like it.
Yeah, they brought in Caleb Swanigan, got rid of Scal, which rips Scal.
Yeah.
But I love Caleb Swanigan. I've loved him since he was at Purdue.
Yeah, he was great at Purdue. It's a good move for them
I think
because
De'Aaron Fox benefits from having Harrison Barnes on the floor as opposed to Justin Jackson.
Yeah.
So,
and it looks like they're going to really make a push for that 8th seed.
yeah, and I think out of the 3 California teams right now in the hunt for that 8th seed, I think Sacramento's probably.
They maybe are
I mean,
the favorite to get
LA
it.
will always be there.
Yeah, I mean,
LeBron.
yeah, just
However,
the Lakers are probably the favorite, but
it's. I mean, the Kings, you can't count them out.
No.
You can't count 'em out. And this is the first time in a long time.
yeah, they look like
Been
they
a really
have the
long
longest active playoff drought in the NBA, I believe. They haven't made it since 2002, if I remember correctly.
Interesting.
Um,
Problem is that they're probably going to play Golden State in the first round.
it's rough, but
Or Denver.
yeah, it could be. What else
Shout
we
out
got?
Denver. Another loser that we had for today was Utah. Not
That's
being
true.
able to pull off
Utah
the deal.
doing nothing.
Just they want to stay pat. I mean, I believe they're 7th right now.
6, I want to say, maybe
6 or 7.
Yeah, they're.
Regardless, from being
I
the
don't-
4th seed overall last year.
Well, I mean, some regression was kind of to be expected considering how on fire Mitchell was.
That's true. Spider Mitchell, we love you on the show.
Yeah,
Charlotte's
definitely.
another loser I had for the day.
God, they didn't do anything, did they?
Nope. They were in the talks for Marcus All.
That's right, they were, and then fell through, obviously.
Fell through because, surprise, surprise, Nicholas Batum's contract isn't worth taking on.
I never would have guessed that paying Batum, he's making like 18 mil a year or something, that some teams weren't interested in that. Are they still paying Marvin Williams?
I think so.
Man, that is. I'm so sorry.
Mike Jordan. This is Jake from the Big Four. Look, all right. So you want to trade away all these guys to get Kemba to stay, right? I get it. But you had to give Justin Timberlake, you had to sit him down because he's a minority owner of the Grizzlies. You had to sit him down. You messed up here, buddy. You had to sit him down. You got to be like, look, I'll give you a new pair of Jordans every month for the next
I'll sign 'em
6
too.
years, and I'll sign them. And you get access to my Carolina Blue private jet. Not whenever you want it, but maybe like twice a month. Once a month. Once every month. Twice every 2 months. And that's the way that you have gotten Marcus All, but you messed it up. You're too busy buying earrings, and it just didn't happen for you. So, Charlotte, I blow it up.
You have to.
Be like Washington, blow it up.
Washington trying to blow it up. They traded Otto Porter Jr.
Yeah, they did.
And
Chicago, I don't know what that was.
That trade does not make sense from anyone's perspective, except for kind of Chicago's.
Didn't they get Jabari for that?
Yeah, they got Jabari, and they got Bobby Portis. They got Jabari.
Yeah.
They got Bobby
I like
Portis.
Bobby Portis.
Bobby
I like
Portis
him
is
at
fine. It's really,
Arkansas.
if you look at it, they basically traded Otto Porter for Bobby Portis, and they had to take on Jabari's contract as like a kicker for
And they
it.
get rid of Otto Porter's.
Yeah, but they also got Jabari Parker's contract.
So, you know.
Jabari's on the books for 20 mil a year for the next 4 years, I want to say. Which, I mean, it's not Otto, but it's not great.
And the last loser that we had on the board were the kids that are the core. In
Yeah,
LA.
the young guns in LA.
I frankly want to see them stay together. I just don't want them to be in a Laker uniform anymore because it's a lot of pressure being under 25 years old and having and not knowing where you're going to play basketball.
Yeah, and it just sucks considering that if the Lakers suddenly do break up the core, it's like they basically have to understand that they're all expendable at the whim of LeBron James.
Yeah, and it's so funny too because like you go through your entire AAU career, high school career, being the guy, being the man, and then you get to the league and they're like, oh no, Anthony Davis is worth all of you. Actually,
Yeah, I know. It's just actually, I don't know. It's rough. And even if you stay, it's suddenly LeBron James. You get thrown through the crucible of you have to develop and produce and be useful, or you're even more expendable than you previously thought you were.
Yeah,
and you will get shipped out of there in a heartbeat.
It's a big clash, really, of ideology, and it could really mess them up. I hope it doesn't.
I really hope it doesn't either, because there's a lot of talent there. Save the kids, man.
Kids. Before we go, Grayson, you want to rip because JT Realmuto's not on the Braves?
Yeah, honestly,
Shifting to baseball really quickly.
As fun as it was to think about that, it really wasn't going to happen because the talks had ceased since winter meetings, and the Marlins are like, hey, here's the deal. For Realmuto, we want, like, pitching prospects within a core position player like Ozzy Albies. And no, they wanted Albies. That's what they asked for.
Jeez.
And Anthopoulos was like, no. We're Atlanta and you're Miami. You do what we say. We're not giving you Albies.
Right.
So
we love our boys.
The
down
trade
there.
talks kind of ceased, but the Phillies, man, that cuts me deep. That
Yeah,
hurts.
it cuts you deep.
Any
but
other team would have been fine.
It really takes the pressure off of them, though. It takes the pressure off of Philadelphia to bring in a Machado or a Bryce Harper. Granted, he's not them, but JT Realmuto's a great offensive catcher. I'd argue he's definitely a top 5 catcher in the league for sure.
Yeah.
So for them to bring him in, it really takes the pressure off. And I was telling Ricky earlier, I said it makes them shift all focus onto their rotation and exclusively Dallas Keuchel. So it'll be fun to watch for
Which
that. the
is
next couple of
crazy
years.
to think about how many players
Years.
NL East
Next couple
will
weeks.
or potentially add. Because Real Muto and maybe Harper will stay within the NL East, but then to add a guy like Keuchel, like how deep that division is, and then you have Miami, which is
really.
Miami had 2 MVPs and Marcell Ozuna, and they traded all of them. And what did they get?
And
Lewis
Realmuto.
Brinson.
And D. Gordon.
And D. Gordon.
They got Lewis
They
Brinson.
traded away D. Gordon, too. And now they've traded away JT Realmuto. They've really torn it down for nothing, and I don't know what Jeter is thinking. I trust him.
I know what they're thinking. They're gonna sell the team.
Yeah, they can't afford it.
It's a blank slate. They're gonna sell the team. We're gonna repackage it. They're gonna repackage the franchise
No, I'm
and sell
not
it.
worried as a Braves fan.
Give Marlins fans what they deserve, which is an actual franchise, and not
Miami fans in general.
a thinly veiled frickin' get rich quick scheme.
This honestly, like, I don't know. It just kind of symbolizes Miami.
It's just so scummy. I hate
Miami
it.
sports scene really just doesn't. Since LeBron James left, and since they, it just doesn't. There's no real stability for any of them.
No.
and we have like 90 seconds.
Yeah, so
like
let's-
a
Is it the
Super
NASCAR
Bowl
fact?
happened. That was
Oh,
cool.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Cool, there he goes.
Neither am I. But
Later, Jake. Taking his phone too. He's actually just going. Man.
fight list.
NASCAR fact?
NASCAR fact. So this week we had a Hall of Fame induction of 2019, and Jeff Gordon headlined the Hall of Fame class. And since the Hall of Fame only started in 2010, that was the
Okay.
first class. Jeff Gordon is the first quote-unquote first ballot Hall of Famer. He's the
Okay.
first person to retire, wait the 3 years, and make the Hall of Fame his first year on the ballot.
Okay.
So congratulations, Jeff Gordon.
That seems pretty well deserved.
Yeah, I think it's very well.
Yeah, yeah. Me and my vast understanding of NASCAR's history.
So yeah, Jeff Gordon, the first ballot NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Congratulations,
Since
Jeff.
that he retired, waited, and then boom,
Yeah.
got into the Hall of Fame.
All right. Congrats, Jeff.
So thank you for listening for the Big One plus NASCAR. It was a great show today.
Yeah, honestly. Man, I used to know this number off the top of my head. Now I don't. I think it's a 167 and a half hour break. We'll be back next week.
Yeah.
See you guys later.